Just because I'm single, I wasn't in a relationship, but I had a stable job, a good job, work my way up my career, somewhere I can be, where best I can be, and I've got a good network of friends, good network of family, and you see the back of buses with, you can be single, you can be gay, you can be a married couple, and you do think, but will you when you actually go to it? And you hear stories over the years about, oh, my friend tried to adopt, it took 4 years down the line, and then she decided it was just too hard. And you do think whether you, like I said, whether you'll be allowed and whether it will be not worth it, but can you put yourself through it? Because it is testing and it is stressful. But for me, the most stressful part was the waiting to find the child. I enjoyed all the homework you have to get. I enjoy the meetings with social workers. If you've got nothing to hide, it's fine. They're all they want to do is, they're not trying to catch you out. They just want to know you. And then when they do, you get a good bond, and I think that's really important. If you don't go with a social worker, then it's not going to be easy. But luckily I did. So yeah. I did it. I went to the first information meeting. Nothing fazed me, nothing worried me or bothered me. It was all very interesting, presented in a really clear way. I came away, did the stage 1, where I had to take my ID, say why I wanted to do it. And then when I took my ID to the local adoption agent, the local adoption office, the lady who normally takes the information wasn't there, and I actually met my social worker, and she was filling in for the day, and we clicked straight away. And she really, when we had a chat, she asked me why I wanted to do it, my reasons, and then it kind of reiterated to me, okay, first part's gone quite well, it's obviously meant to be. Then I started stage 2, and I did all the courses, all the homework, which was quite full on, but very interesting. You learn a lot about yourself, for reasons you think you wanted to do the adoption. You find there's other reasons why subconsciously you weren't aware of. You go through your own childhood. You have to look at how you would parent, what your responsibilities are. If you had this scenario, how would you cope with it? What would you do in this situation? Your social worker challenges you. So she asks you, do you think that's how you would do it? Or why have you thought about that? Makes you think about things in a different way. Like I said, you find a lot about yourself. And it's nerve-wracking, but it's exciting. So it is very worthwhile. And then I went on the courses and met some other fellow adopters. We got on well, we bonded, we had a WhatsApp group. So we had a little chat, and why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? I was the only single adopter that I met. Still am, to be fair. I don't know any other single adopters. But it never worried me the whole time. It never fazed me, doing it on my own. I'm very fortunate. I live with a lot of my family, so I had their backup as well. And I think that was a bit of a concern for some other people, like how would I parent alongside my siblings that parented their children, but we're very different in our parenting approaches. So it works. Basically, they do their thing, I do my thing, and we all live in harmony. I had panel, which was not scary. It didn't bother me. It was just a chat. It was really comfortable, enlightening. Things they asked you, things they told you, but you came away with, once you got through it, obviously you're nervous and it's not guaranteed you'll get through, but your social worker won't take you there unless she thinks you're right for it. So you've got to trust your social worker and have a good relationship with them. And then the waiting began, and that was the hard part. You get phone calls, you get profiles, and you get your hopes up, you show interest, and then you don't really hear anything. And you have people tell you the whole way along, oh, when it's meant to be, it's meant to be, it'll happen, it'll be fine, it's fate. And then it clicks, and you get a profile, and you think, oh, and you show interest, and then bam, 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 bam. It all happens really quickly. You meet social workers, you meet family finders, you meet foster parents if need be, and then you meet the child, and it sounds a bit cliche, but it is very much, it was meant to be, it is fate, and we have just fitted together. It's like we were meant to be. We're a unit, we're a family, the two of us, and that's how it will stay. Yeah, so it was from start to finish, it was probably just over a year. And at the time, you go through it and you think, oh, this is hard work, but it's got to be. They're testing you to find out if you're fit for it, you're keen for it, you're enthusiastic, and then it all fits together, and you find your forever child, and your child finds their forever family. A few health issues, which I wasn't sure would be another reason why I wouldn't be allowed to adopt. But you have to have a medical with a doctor, and the doctor approved me and said that there was nothing in my medical history or my present medical history that would stop me parenting a child. I think you have to be very open and honest to make sure there's nothing down the line that could come out. They look at what would happen in the future if you became poorly, what would happen, who would care for your child, is the contingency plans in place. So yes, my doctor approved me in the medical and said there's no reason why I couldn't parent a child. And now there's nothing that stops me. That I probably couldn't run a marathon with my child, but not many people would do that as a bonding experience anyway. But yeah, there's plenty of things we can do. We go to the park, we play all day. So there's nothing physically that I can't do with him. But I was worried that might be another reason, another tick box that would be, no, I'm afraid you can't. But I was pleasantly surprised, and it was barely mentioned, wasn't penalised, no discrimination for it. It was all very, as long as you feel you're able to parent a child and there's no physical reason why when they're 18 you still can't be around or help them, then yeah, that was good. You go to the information sessions and they lay it all out, and you ask for timelines of how long it will take, and just you can try and fit whether you think it's feasible. Really, it's amazing how quick it is when you start the journey. Like I said, you've had many, it's taken me years, but I think from what I've seen, there's always reasons why. If it's all straightforward, if you're in good health, and you know where you're going, and you know what your vision is, and your social worker understands you and gets you, then it can be quite straightforward. Like I said, you are challenged, and there are many things you find out about yourself that you didn't know. You look at the scenarios and you think, oh, I thought I'd approach it this way, but maybe I wouldn't. And also a lot of the training courses, they show you things, and you obviously have an idea of how you would parent. And then you go on these courses and you think, oh, that's a different way. I hadn't thought of it quite like that. And also, when I went to these courses, a few of my friends, their children said to me, why are you going on these courses, Auntie? And I said, to learn, in a basic way, to learn how to parent, to learn how to tell children off and how to bring them up right. And their question was, do my mummy and daddy ever go on those courses? And it was a really good question, because I thought, no. And I think every parent could benefit from it. It showed you what you should do, how to be calm, how to not approach it in a stressful way, and how to engage with the child rather than go against them and, a clash. So I think it really showed me that it was really beneficial. You tick boxes or this course, that course, but you learn a lot. And I think everyone should do the courses, to be fair. When you're pregnant and you go on these midwife course about how to give birth, they should also give you courses on how to parent, because they're very, very enlightening, and they show you what the downfalls of what your actions can do for years to come. In my situation, the birth parent had their wish you well contact the week before my child met me. So there was no crossover. He met the birth parents, and then the week later I met them. And we have letterbox contact once a year. I write, they write back to me. I give details of what they like, what they don't like, because to me, at the end of the day, you've got to be aware that child has been made essentially by by the birth parent. They are their flesh and blood, and they have a right to know what they like. What does it really matter if they know that they love Peppa Pig or Fireman Sam, or the favourite colour is yellow? I think if you try and lie to them or don't tell them the correct thing, you're doing your child a misjustice, because you promise to take on that child, love them, protect them, and you're not going to protect them if you're going to lie to the birth parents, because ultimately, at the end of the day, 20 years' time, your child could want to meet their birth parent. So you've got to bring them up aware of their history, where they've come from, and tell the birth parents what they like. So if they do meet up in the future, they can, you're not found out to have lied about this and have lied about that, and you were doing the best for the child and the birth parents, because ultimately you've got them to thank for your beautiful children. So yeah, we never had any contact apart from letterbox every year, which the first one I wrote was very hard. I didn't know what to write. I found it. You do get a template, so that was helpful, but it's a very hard thing to write about your child that's also someone else's child. You don't want to write it so that they're envious of what they're missing out on. You don't want to boast about the wonderful life you're giving them. You want to be respectful that you're bringing their child up to the best of your ability, and that they are your world and they are your child ultimately, but you're aware of the bond they will always have, that they birth them. Being a parent has ups and downs. Magical, amazing. Every day you laugh, you smile. Every day you get stressed, and every day you clench your teeth. It's not unusual, it's not uncommon. And before you go into it and you go to these courses and you see how people have parented, and you think, oh, I would never do that. I'll be very kind, very considerate, very calming. I'll do pace. My parenting will all be pace. And then reality hits and you're tired. You've not slept all night. The child's crying because their banana's broken in two and you can't put the banana back together. That's reality of it. And that's when you just have to take yourself away for a couple of seconds and think, right, that child needs me. I am their rock. I am their life. And you go back and you pretend to put the banana back together, and then they smile. And then everything's right in the world. They laugh, and it's the best sound you'll ever hear. And you put them to bed, and then you think of what you've done that day. Have they had enough fruit? Have they had enough sleep? Have they had enough fun? Have you educated them? Are they learning enough? And then you wake up the next day and it all starts again. But it's worth every minute, and I thoroughly recommend it, because you're not just helping them out, you're also helping yourself out, because you're giving yourself someone to love, and you're giving that child a world they may not have been able to have before. So do it. It's worth it. And they appreciate it, and they'll love you for it, and you'll love them back, and it's amazing.